welcome back to the Two Furs Boxing Show, episode 8. Cannot believe that we're already on the 8th episode. Seems to be that every week goes by and by, and I kind of, I'm in the last minute scramble to get everything out. Interesting week of boxing. Completely forgot about Daniel Dubois' return to the ring over the weekends. So when I did last week's episodes, there was no predictions and things like that. But yeah, so we're just obviously going to do a little bit of a recap on Dubois Dinu, Bogdan Dinu. Looked really good under Shane McGuigan. First fight, I believe, under his guidance, and there was a lot of sort of speculation that Dubois was going to go with Mark Tibbs, and then eventually it was a few weeks ago that it was announced that he was going to team up with Shane McGuigan, and I really like that pairing. Really rate Shane McGuigan as a coach. So excited really to see the future of Daniel Dubois. I think it was so important that he come back in a very dominant and destructive fashion after the loss to Joe Joyce. From what I saw, there was no signs that the injury he suffered in that fight with Joe Joyce that was going to be sort of long lasting. And yeah, basically delivered the performance that everyone kind of wanted to see. So was very happy. We always kind of know that Daniel Dubois carries a lot of power, likes to start fast, the whole don't get paid for overtime. I think it was brilliant. I was really impressed with Dubois. And like I said, very excited for the future. If I was to pick opponents for him next, potentially Derek Chisora. I feel like he's very good gatekeeper level, could bridge that. But could also go for, I think it's Trevor Bryan that has WBA. Could very well go and challenge for the regular version of the belt, and then all he's got to do is sit tight and pretty until he can take on the WBA Super Champion, which at the moment is Anthony Joshua. That's probably what I would do. That seems like a safe option. Pretty sure a lot of fans would rather see him in a lot more entertaining fights, but that's not necessarily. Actually, that's a bit harsh. It's not necessarily to say that he won't be keen to take some entertaining fights along the way. But as a business side of things, I think for him to potentially grab the WBA regular belt and then hold on to it until the mandatory position for the WBA Super comes along, I think that's likely. That's, like I said, that's what I would do. But yeah, brilliant performance from Dubois. Very excited to see what's next for him. There was also the main one, which we did touch on last week, was Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul. I'll start with, it was very weird to hear about an event that was on a Sunday evening, especially over here. I think it was early hours of Monday morning. So a bit of a strange one really. There's not really too much to touch on. I feel like everybody kind of knew what the performance was going to be like from both fighters. Logan, the inexperienced, like hunting for a knockout and throwing punches, not without really strategically thinking about them. If I was going to say a sort of like harsh criticism, is that I would probably prefer Jake Paul as the better boxer. Has just a little bit more to his game. And Floyd always felt like he was just going to sort of hold it out until the final bell. Seen a lot of videos going around where Floyd was holding Logan so that he could earn more money or something like that. Said, oh, the check hasn't cleared now. Look, I regardless if you're putting a 155 pounder in with a essentially 190 or potentially a cruiserweight, you're not really going to see a knockout from the smaller guy. Looked like he had wobbled Logan at times, but I don't know, there's been a lot of talk that Logan Paul can essentially take going the full distance of someone like Floyd Mayweather as a win. He probably should. Just don't think Floyd should be fighting anymore, to be perfectly honest. But money talks, and I think the fight with Logan Paul definitely did talk. Made a lot of sense for both guys to make a lot of money. Fair play to them, that's all I can really say. I know a lot of people don't agree with fights like that, but what can you do when you're offered millions and millions of pounds? Are you going to say no? Absolutely not. So yeah, that's pretty much that. The other fight that was on the undercard of that, which did really surprise me, was Jarrett Hurd versus Luis Arias. Arias, I guess we can kind of call it an upset. I didn't see Arias winning, but then I also didn't realise the link up with Ismael Salas. Saw that throughout fight week and was kind of a bit like, okay, maybe there is an upset on the cards. And I think it's one of them where if you really know your boxing, then you kind of could see it potentially happening. But like I said, I was such a massive Jarrett Hurd fan. And I really thought he would have done the business. And you know, he's got a long climb back now. I mean, it was a long climb back after the Julian Williams loss. It's a much longer climb for him now. Don't really know where he goes next. But you know, just an incredible feat from Luis Arias. Gets himself back into that sort of contention level, gatekeeper level as well. And yeah, I imagine we'll see another big fight for him next. Wouldn't mind actually seeing Luis Arias against someone like Tim Tszyu. That would be a good fight, I feel. I'm never great at picking fights apparently, so yeah, why not? I'd love to see that. I think Arias has proved himself, Tszyu has definitely proved himself. World titles, you know, not an immediate option for either guy, as there's going to be the whole undisputed between Charlo and Castano. So yeah, why not? Let's get it on. I'd love to see that fight. Okay, so I think that's all the boxing that was over on the weekend. There was obviously also Badou Jack, who was back with a win, but it wasn't against Jean Pascal after failing that drugs test, which was a real shame. I think everyone really wanted to see that fight. 4th round stoppage from Badou Jack, and yeah, he's now going to move to cruiserweight, which is a I don't know how we'll fare there. I can't imagine him going against someone like Lawrence Okoli. I think it's just a step too far, but what do I know? Oh, there's a nice bit of drainage there, lovely. Right. We also have a couple of bits of news. So we had Matchroom and DAZN. Eddie Hearn has, you know, done wonders, signed a massive deal for all of his fighters on the Matchroom boxing stable, and DAZN UK is launched properly. You know, they've got an entire promotion to showcase all the fights on DAZN, and I think it's a really bright future for British boxing, for world boxing. You know, DAZN is over in so many countries now. Cannot tell you how many, because it's that many. And I really feel like it's been a game changer for this sport. I know a lot of people are very skeptical, you know, oh, if you say it to this person, you know, oh, they know what Sky is, they know what BT is, they don't know what DAZN is. DAZN is a very young company, and I think it can only get bigger and bigger, and I think, you know, nobody knew Apple when it was a very small company, but now everybody knows it, everybody gets their phones, everybody buys the product. It's a long-term building process, and I definitely think it's going to be a successful move. Props to Eddie Hearn and DAZN for getting that over the line. Opened so many doors for so many fighters, and it's just, yeah, a great career move for Matchroom Boxing, for all the fighters under Matchroom Boxing, and for DAZN. Can't wait to see more of the schedule. Okay, I think that's actually all the news that I had. I won't lie, I have been a bit off the grid as of late. So we will just talk about the fights that are on this weekend. There's a fair few. One of the guys I have actually interviewed, so the link to that interview will probably be in the description if you want to go check that out. Yeah, so we'll start with that one. Why not? Matt Windle versus Neil McCubbin. McCubbin 5-0, 1 knockout. Matt Windle 5-3. It's a good 50-50 fight, and it's really going to show, speaking about this with Matt Windle, is that it's really going to show a lot about McCubbin's character. Whether this will be his kind of like breakout fight, the one that kind of takes him on, the fight for the Commonwealth Light Flyweight Championship, but when you're fighting at light flyweight, it's the gap between British and or domestic level and world level is very, very small. So yeah, I'm not too sure what really to expect. I think Windle is a bit more seasoned as a professional. McCubbin, the more seasoned amateur. Whether that will translate well into the professional game and whether he can, keep them sort of fancy shots on for 12 rounds, we will have to wait and see. Windle been the distance, fought for area level titles. Don't really expect him to let the fight slip. I think you can probably see McCubbin taking the early rounds, trying to make an impression, and Windle definitely coming on stronger in the later rounds. And I think you'll probably see Windle, just because he's a little bit more experienced in the professional game, has fought the longer rounds, knows the task at hand. I think he might just nick it on points, but I expect it to be a close fight. I just don't quite see a breakout performance from Neil McCubbin just yet. Do really like Neil McCubbin, and don't get me wrong, if he does lose at the weekend, it's certainly not the end for his career. Potential rematch, or could fight somebody else. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he wins this fight and he goes on to bigger and better things. I think either guy, gets very close to a world title shot, realistically. Not necessarily, a mandatory position, but, a voluntary defence for somebody. I can definitely see it. So yeah, looking forward to that fight. It's going to be on Fight Zone. Dennis Hobson doing amazing things for small hall fighters. Cannot wait to see it. Hope you guys will all be tuning in for that, because it's fantastic to see small hall, finally getting their shows regular COVID, because they've been hit really hard by this. Okay, so we've got Ritson Ponce, Lewis Ritson. I'm not too sure. I really haven't liked him at super lightweight, to be perfectly honest, but I do understand why he's made the move up. And this has been for some time now, right? He's fought Robbie Davis Jr., he fought Miguel Vasquez, where he's very fortunate to get the win. Ponce, honestly, cannot tell you anything about him. That's my fault, is sort of not having researched these fighters. But I feel like it's been perfectly selected as a final eliminator for a world title for Lewis Ritson to eventually get that world title shot, whether that comes against Josh Taylor, or potentially Josh Taylor vacates, and really hoping the shotgunners are picking up that airplane for problems of shooting outside. Yeah, whether it's the belts get vacated and then Lewis Ritson gets a good opportunity to get a world title shot. I would love to see, what stadium is it? I've forgotten it now. Love to see Lewis Ritson get a world title shot at the Newcastle Stadium, whatever it is. Not a football fan, so I do apologise. And yeah, I just do feel like it's been perfectly picked for Ritson. Very rarely do the matchmakers and promoters get these things wrong, so I think you can expect a Ritson win. Like I said, I haven't enjoyed him too much at super lightweight. I think this probably goes the distance, and I don't think it'll be too close. I think it'll be a fairly clear Ritson points win, and yeah, look, good luck to Ritson. I think he knows what he's doing, and comes across as a very nice guy. I would love to meet him one day. And yeah, I'd love to see him get the world title shot, especially in his hometown. I think that would be fantastic for him, especially for what he's done for Northeast Boxing, so far. So yeah, love to see it. Shakur Stevenson takes on Nakafila. Good fight, really good fight. A lot better than what we've seen of Stevenson lately. Look, it's not going to be the fight that we want to see Shakur Stevenson in, but it's definitely an improvement from what we have seen previously. So that said, really looking forward to seeing Shakur Stevenson put on a show in this fight. Really think he wants to go out there, make a statement. A couple of performances. I feel like he needs a knockout. That's basically what I'm trying to say. I feel like he needs a knockout in this fight, just to capture the attention. Super featherweights are pretty much bustling. because you had Vidal, Valdez, Burchell, Jamel Herring, Frampton. Those two could potentially unify. I'm pretty sure Stevenson wants to get in the middle of that unification or potentially face the winner. He wants his name in the mix, but you know, amazing amateur pedigree, silver medal at the Olympics, made a great start to the professionals by capturing world title. But we just need to see that little spark that kind of captures everyone's attention. You know, for the casual fans, for people who come to boxing to go and see knockouts, that's what we need to see from Shakur Stevenson. Needs to go out there and put on a show, break down Nakafila and stop him. And I think that's what we'll see. Whether he's motivated enough or not, that's really what it'll be. But you know, been pro for a couple of years now, been an amateur a very long time, still very young, has plenty more room for improvement, a very high ceiling, but that's what I think we'll see. I think we'll see Shakur Stevenson really go through the gears and stop Nakafula this weekend. So yeah, looking forward to it. Looking forward to this weekend of boxing. Hopefully I will actually get time to watch this one. I won't get any of the days wrong. And yeah, it's been fun. I will definitely try and do this more regular. Today's actually Tuesday, so I was meant to do this yesterday, but time's just all over the place recently, to be honest. So yeah, I hope you guys have all enjoyed. I'm pretty sure I'll see you all next week. If you're watching on YouTube, please be sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe. Thank you all to the listeners on Spotify, really do appreciate you. And yeah, if you're tuning in for the Marvel podcast, I will see you tomorrow. If you're back here for boxing, I will see you back here on Monday, hopefully. Hopefully we'll get that right. So yeah, cheers.